shot. I've been in a scenario where I've been shot and I'm still alive, so I have a little personal experience in this matter. I'm not going to waste too much time with my story of survival. Instead, I'm just going to give you some information, obviously some ideas of dealing with situations that involve being shot. First off, the first thing you should do in any scenario where your life is in danger is to fight, defend yourself to the best of your abilities. I mean, you don't have to be a black belt in some form of martial arts or, to defend yourself. I mean, you should put any effort to defend yourself, especially if you've seen any type of TV shows or movies in which they, you see someone fighting and defending themselves. You pretty much got a pretty good idea of how to throw a punch, how to throw a kick, how to grab somebody's hand, how to block, even though you have probably never used those techniques, your mind has that information, so access it, use it. So as you can see in this image, the positioning of his hands puts him in a pretty good position to, one, move his head out the way, and then he can use either one of his hands, whichever one is the dominant one, to grasp the weapon and defend himself. In the second image, on the top, you see this person is in the, shooting defense position or something. I haven't come up with a name for it. But this is known as the fetal position, the technical term. And as you can see, it consists of hands on top of your head, your forearms, in front of you, in front of your chest, your knees up, your legs pulled back, more like in the way this image here on the third image right here illustrated, shows, you're trying to bring your knees and elbows closer together, and you're trying to create a defense of arms and legs for your front torso. As you can see in the fourth image on the top, that is not the position you want to be in if you're in a cornered scenario and you're being shot at, or people are just shooting in general and you might end up getting hit. One, you don't want to be this high up from the ground. You want to be close to the ground as possible, like how this person in the second image is lying down on the ground. You know what I mean? He's below the person's knee. He's so low, kicking somebody while they're down is more likely than punching them or whatnot, right? So he's lower to the ground, which is the appropriate way of doing it. You also see that his back is away from the assailant that's trying to kick him. So he's able to use his arms and legs to protect his torso, protect his vital organs. In this position, you see in the fourth image, you see his back is exposed. So the positioning is pointless. Because you get shot in the back, that can still puncture your lungs, can puncture your heart. It can still hit vital organs. You want to use that wall that's behind them as defense for your back. Because your back is the reverse version of your front torso. Your front. So you want to protect that whole entire midsection, that whole entire center mass of your body. So you want to be in a position like in the second image, lying down in that corner area. Because that corner will help shield your back, and then you defend that way. As you can see in the bottom images, the first one, there's your muscles, your skeletal muscular system. There's a considerable amount of muscles in your legs, a good amount of muscles in your arms. You overlap those muscles over your abdomen, your chest muscles, and you create a bigger, denser muscle mass that the bullets will have to go through in order to even hit one of your vital organs. And then you got your rib cage, your skeletal system to add to the defense. So that's part of why this technique is useful. There's no guarantees in a life or death situation. There's no guarantees. Everyone's different, but Better to try and fail than not to even try it at all. You want to increase your chances. Moving on, you want to protect your vital areas like your lungs. You need them for breathing. Your heart, you need it to pump blood to your body. Then you got down here your femoral arteries. Femoral arteries. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but you get the idea. It's the big giant veins in your legs. They are in your inner thigh area. So that's why this technique with the knees together and stuff like that helps close the gap in between your legs. So that way you're using the outer area of your thighs, the outer thighs, the muscles in there to help protect the femoral arteries so that we don't bleed out to death, because you will bleed out to death if you don't get proper medical attention and a tourniquet right away. And of course your brain, you don't want to get shot in the head. You want to minimize that as much as possible. There's very little defense for protecting your head other than like a Kevlar helmet or something like that. But you're not likely to be wearing a Kevlar helmet while you're walking around, in life. So the best you can do is use your hands as a form of defense. It's not perfect, but it might increase the chances of avoiding a bullet ricocheting and hitting your skull dead on and penetrating. The fact that the bullet might hit your hands instead and ricochet off potentially from the bones in your hands, you might increase the chances of avoiding death by a headshot. So that's something you want to do, is avoid it. So let's read out the information I wrote out here. First thing above all is to avoid being shot in the first place. Obviously, run, dodge, do your zigzag. Those techniques do work. In my altercation, after I was shot, I ran and zigzagged, and that avoided me getting shot the second time. So zigzagging when you're running away from someone is effective. It does work. Try to position yourself to get shot in non-vital parts of your body. What helped me survive my altercation was I was in a fighting position. I was in a position in which the side of my body was present towards the assailant. So when I got shot on the outer thigh, a couple centimeters or inches. I forgot what they said. Away from the femoral artery, so I was able to avoid bleeding out to death. Because if I got shot there, I pretty much would have been dead. But the idea was to try to survive. So my positioning increased my chances of survival because I put my less vital areas outward. Like I said, muscle mass, and I'm a pretty big guy, so I had a lot of extra meat, as it were, to withstand the bullet. So that way the bullet just went in on one side of my body, and it's still there, but at least it didn't hit anything vital. But for the next 2 weeks after that, my leg hurt like hell, but it was better than dying, right? Moving on. If cornered, the vital organ defense position, I did give it a name. Vital organ defense position can reduce fatal wounds, which is the position that I'm trying to show you that will be very useful this is only if you're cornered. Like, if you have the ability to run, then run. Don't just feel like, oh my god, I see a gun, let me throw myself on the floor into what I call the vital organ defense position. Run. You increase your chances of survival if you run. Again, zigzag and be aware of your surroundings. You want to avoid running into the bullet, as it were, because if you're running and somebody, it's not even aiming at you, they're aiming to, like, let's say there's a door and they're aiming at the door and they're waiting for you to get to the door, and then they fire and hit you with a bullet. You want to avoid that. You want to make it harder. Playing dead can reduce the chances for repeated shots. That can help. That can work. The reason why somebody shot you is so that way you be dead. So if you're playing dead, you reduce the chances of repeated shots, because if they shoot you more than once, that increases your chances of bleeding to death. Continue playing dead even if the shots continue. That's another thing, is even if they shoot you more than once, pretending you're dead, trying to withstand the pain can help you survive. Control your breathing. Try not to panic, of course. You don't want to go into shock. If you have the ability to call 911, do so, of course. Apply pressure to the most dangerous looking wound. If you have, multiple gunshot wounds, if you feel you're bleeding from a certain place, you want to apply some pressure to it. So this is after, of course, the assailant leaves. This is after you've been shot and you're left alone to die from your wounds. You want to apply pressure to wherever the most amount of blood is coming out of. Use gravity to keep blood in your body. So if you've been shot in the front of your body, you want to lie on your back. If you're shot in the back, you want to lie on your front, on your stomach, to have, so that way you can let gravity help keep the blood from leaking out. That's because you're trying not to bleed out. If shot in the front, lay on your back. If shot in the back, lay on your stomach. Personally, I have been shot and I used a fighting stance. Okay, that's my little story. Yeah, blah blah blah. Okay. And then of course, try crawling to safety or shelter, like under a car or truck. That's pretty useful. You want some place to withstand. I mean, you should do that in general. If you can duck and run under a car, like a parked car or something, and to avoid getting shot, that'd be a good idea. Of course, get shelter, run into a building, so forth and so forth. You want to reduce the chances of you being a target. But again, this is about surviving getting shot, which is, if you do get shot, you want to be in a position, the whole vital organ defense position, to reduce the fatal wounds. You're gonna get hurt. This technique really is not for avoiding getting shot. This is for if you do get shot and you see that you're about to get shot, you want some type of defense. So that's what the vital organ defense position is for, to increase your chances. But again, like I said in the beginning, fight if they're close to you, but if they're far away from you, run, obviously. And that's the end of the video.